Hello and welcome to the second episode of
Arcadia Baes.
I can't tell if that's getting worse or better.
Better.
Okay.
It
Worse.
was in no way rehearsed this time.
It was great.
It was.
It was.
Anyway, it's the second episode of Arcadia Baes, but we're talking about episode 4.
Yeah, just to
of-
keep it nice and confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously fairly massive spoiler warning. If you haven't played Life is Strange, this is not the video for you.
Yeah, we're going to talk about everything.
Mm-hmm. Including...
Everything at the end of episode 4. Oh my god.
Should we start at the start?
Let's start at the
So,
start. That's-
remember last
makes sense.
episode, you were talking about how you felt about the series as a whole was going to be... Was it you or Donlin saying that it really, really mattered how they dealt with the whole Chloe was in a wheelchair thing at the end of episode 3?
Yeah. So, I have a few problems with the beginning of the episode. I mean, I was glad that they reverted to the original timeline so quickly, but the fact that it was so quick, it felt like the whole thing was a bit of an unnecessary sidestep. Now, that may prove to be untrue depending on what happens in episode 5. However, my main problem with it was that the choice at the end of the first section, where you had to choose whether to help Chloe kill herself or not, was rendered like moot by the fact that you knew the photo was right there on the desk, and as soon as you made the choice, you'd be going back.
Exactly, and I feel like I didn't make the choice that I would have made otherwise.
So what choice did you make?
I believe in people's right to end their lives if they so choose. But in this instance, I was like, no, Chloe, you don't have to do it because there's somewhere else where I've come from where you're fine, so let's just go back there.
I felt the exact same way.
I was massively on Team Morphine. I wanted to help her out, but because I played through with my other half, she refused to let me help her die, and so we've all made the same choice in our playthroughs. My assumption is that it will have an impact on how the game goes. Like
I said to you, didn't I? I was like the only real practical use I can see for that entire sequence now is that it shows you that traveling through photos is possible, and that ties into the end of episode 4, which we'll get to eventually. But I still liked the sequence. Alternate Max is a bitch, by the way. Did you read her text messages?
I did,
It took her months to reply to Chloe. She wasn't as cozy with her mum or dad. She was obviously in the Vortex Club.
Friends with Nathan and Victoria.
Yeah, but it was just interesting to see the parallels and see how, it had repercussions not on just Chloe, but on everyone else. Like, if you go up to Chloe's room, you see... I didn't actually get that. When you go up to Chloe's room, you know how she has the height chart in the corner?
Yeah.
It's only Chloe. Like, it was like they didn't grow up together at all.
Is Chloe in the height chart in the other timeline?
Yeah. Well,
really?
because her
It's in Chloe's room, right?
But her accident only happened, like, when they were... she got she got a present from her dad, her car, and then there's a cool little thing where it says, a stupid SUV driver ran me off the road,
and then later on you find out Nathan drives an SUV,
which is a cool little thing.
Yeah, he's a dick no matter what time you're in. I was pleased that Alyssa is the one throwing stuff at other people in the alternate timeline. Like,
what? I didn't even pick up on that.
There's a text message where Max has texted Alyssa going, "I know you threw that at me.
Oh,
That's not funny."
Oh,
And she's like,
oh my god!
I wasn't aiming for you. Oh man,
that's quite funny.
It made me so happy.
But I don't know. I did feel kind of angry when the game threw that decision at you because I wasn't entirely sure that it was. I don't know. It's just like that's such a big thing for a game to deal with, and it's good in a way that they're tackling that kind of subject. But I was like, isn't this making this absolutely monumental thing that real people have to go through a little bit trivial?
Yes, it was because it was so isolated, kind of as you said, where you knew that no matter which one you chose, you were going to immediately leave that room. And in a game that's all about the consequences of your actions, that's pretty cheap. And again, it all boils down to whether or not, because it could be such a thing whereby in episode 5 you can't bring Chloe back if you did kill her in the alternate one, or vice versa, which would be
dumb.
Yeah.
I can't see why there would be a reason for that, but you did hit on the right point, which I think is this is a game about the consequences of your decisions, and for that decision there were no consequences because it was immediately rewritten whatever you chose.
Yep.
So I don't know, maybe it was just something that you were supposed to make morally, and then and it was just part of your story, but
True. You can still say that you had the
I don't know.
experience of choosing it, but I don't know. It still felt like a bit of a cop out. Did you actually what? Because you know how originally it lets you go, I don't know first.
yeah, I did
I did
that.
that first, and then it's like, nah, you gotta choose
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
What actually happens if you say yes to your request?
Oh, you didn't even see it?
No.
Oh, you do it. Like
Yeah.
you turn the clicker all the way up to 11, and she dies with a smile on her face. She says, you know, it's been so cool spending time with you. Thank you, Max. And then she just drifts off.
See, that's all the more heartbreaking, though, isn't it? You know, considering what happens at the end of episode 4.
Yeah.
It's such a stark contrast.
Yeah.
And you're like, I mean, it just makes you wonder, like, okay, if I had to go back and do that again, assuming, of course, that the end of episode 4 is
Permanent?
which it probably won't be.
Of course it won't be. No.
But wouldn't that be great if it was? Because we're all so sure that it isn't.
But it won't be for many reasons. Primarily, that episode 5 will have to contain Chloe in some form.
Why?
Because she's one of the 2 main characters, and they wouldn't write her out.
But but we said this about other things in Life is Strange. Like, they won't, like, they'll have to have Rachel in it. They've focused too much on her now.
Yeah.
Like, I still. I think they're good enough to like.
I don't know. I mean,
our expectations. I mean, I'm not saying she probably will be there.
I think Rachel is still going to make an appearance.
Nah.
Really?
Yeah.
I absolutely right. So
I think there'll be a scene.
We're skipping
there'll be
ahead
one
anyway.
scene.
But I love the fact that we've never seen her in action. Like, she only exists through like photographs and people's recollections of her.
Which was my assumption the whole way through, was that she was in fact dead. So it was kind of a weird moment where she was found, where it was heart-wrenching, but also kind of it satisfied in a weird way that puzzle itch that was in the back of my head. I'm not saying I'm happy she's dead.
I was really surprised to find her dead. I thought that there was going to be some way that you'd be able to rewrite time and save her, and it was all the more affecting and powerful to just be like, nope, she's in a hole in the ground.
And she's been there for a while.
And she started to smell, and she's definitely dead.
So awful. But we're skipping ahead, so
Well, I think maybe we can move on. Like,
Yeah.
so we talked about choosing to help or refuse Chloe.
And no matter what you do, you end up going back. And that's when you do... Oh yeah, so they decide that they need certain strands of evidence.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the first thing you do is... What is it? You have to get... you have to get this stuff off Nathan in Nathan's room.
Yes, and you have to choose whether you let Warren beat Nathan up or not.
Did you?
Yeah.
So I watched it because I thought, oh, this will be satisfying, and then it went a bit too far. So I rewound, and I decided that I should call Warren off. But then Warren is left with the gun. So I had to rewind back again, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let him beat up Nathan.
That is
and I
interesting.
just don't want Nathan being left with a gun.
I called Warren off because I didn't want Chloe to have a gun. Like, I just thought, like, because she's been really reckless with it in the same way Nathan has. Like, if you have a gun in this game, yeah, exactly. If you have a gun in this game, you're a tool, like, and you are being a tool.
Some might say that about real life.
Indeed. And so, yeah, no, I figured it was more important to me to have a gun out of Chloe's hands than in Nathan's.
My decision was based solely on the fact that I didn't think Max would let Warren do that. And interestingly, a lot of people on the Reddit have a lot more respect for Warren because he did that, and I actually just kind of dislike him a bit more because of that. I just think he's just such a... I don't know, he's
My
so
pet peeve
annoying.
about this episode, sorry, just to interject, is that because I accepted Warren's offer of a little friendly trip to the movies 2 episodes ago, people still think that girl is still really jealous of us.
Brooke's such a...
And I've been trying to tell
even
Warren
if you
to
don't
do
go on
one,
a date
but
with her, she's still a wee snarky bitch. Like, she's like, because I was the same as you. I accepted the date thinking, oh, we're just gonna go to the drive-in, I can blow him off later.
whoa.
And no, so I replayed the whole thing because I was like, no, I'm not. I don't, because I'm totally Pricefield. Like,
Yeah,
of course.
And
I love that ship name.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go back to the normal timeline and they're playing like Amanda Palmer and Max is so happy, that's such a lovely moment. There was one of like a few really poignant.
And DC, when she writes in her diary,
She wanted to kiss her again, which was lovely. And just what I really liked was when you get that little flurry of text from Warren is how it's not questioned that a relationship between the two of those, like between Chloe and Max, could be a possibility. It's a likelihood, and that's not weird. It's just, that was...
It's just like, did you see that?
Yeah.
Though he was, at the same time, his whole attitude towards the thing was like, yeah, I'm really unlucky because you've got some great friends who love you, and therefore you rely on me less.
His entire character, to me, just comes across as, I'm such a nice guy, why won't she like me? And I fucking hate that. Like, I just... Do you feel like it's in there? Well, no,
Poor Warren for being a nice guy.
No, I agree,
I'm doing this. He's such a nice guy. Like
you're doing inverted air quotes.
Why
on a
won't she
podcast.
notice me? I'm right here. Why can't she see that? La 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 la. Like all that bullshit. I was talking to Aoife about it. How like my toes curled at various points in like that story arc because he reminded. I could see a little bit of my teenage self in
For sure.
him, where it's just like. I like this girl so much, and I'm so nice to her. But it's such a pig-headed thing to assume that means you should be rewarded with a relationship. It's just weird.
I think a lot of guys, kind of have been there when they're a bit younger as well, and it's just like, I mean, I just think like because everything my Max has done has put out signals to say that she's not interested, and he's still following her along, and I'm just like, no, mate, just do your own thing. Like you've got lots of girls who are interested, and you go do that.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly didn't leave him a lovey-dovey note on his whiteboard.
Blah.
You can do that.
Blah.
Yeah.
Ew. Gross.
Yeah, it's grim.
Anyway, Nathan's room, creepy ass.
Actually, one of the most upsetting moments for me in that whole episode was finding the picture of Chloe.
It was
laid
horrible,
out on the
wasn't
floor.
it?
It was so
Hyper real.
Yeah.
Almost,
Oh god, I
compared to
wanted to
everything
just go
else.
tell Chloe in the game straight away. And I don't know. I felt weird that Max didn't want to, but I understand why.
It felt weird that she didn't take that photo with her as well.
Oh yeah.
It made me feel really genuinely sick, like more than
Really angry at Nathan.
Yeah. And like his whole room with like the massive projector playing the cabinet of Dr. Caligari and like
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, which you could read into a bit more, I think. This whole basically everything up to a point in this episode is like Nathan. He's such a weirdo. He's such a like
Which all sets up the end.
Yeah, big time. Which I was properly shocked by. But anyway, after that, like then you have to go get Frank's details.
So I didn't realise quite how amazingly convoluted this scene is in terms of all of its options. I actually came through it pretty quickly and easily. I think my Max has been pretty Paragon throughout, and she's just been friendly to most people's. And Frank, I didn't throw a bone so his dog got run over in the road because who would do that?
Yeah, who
would
does
do that?
Some people have, and those people out there. We talked about them in the last episode.
Yeah,
they're
You're
dicks.
the worst.
But I mean, I didn't threaten him or anything.
Did your Chloe have a gun?
Uh,
Because Frank can take it off you in the junkyard the first time.
yeah, she.
And then you can get it back.
She
in the RV.
didn't have his
yeah.
gun,
Oh,
but
okay.
she had a gun because we took it off Nathan. So
Yeah.
you can both have guns.
My Chloe had a gun, but we just didn't need
Yeah,
it.
I mean
if
that
you're
was
just-
horrible
like,
when she shoots the dog and then
Oh, it was awful.
like
I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
It needs to
That's
be up
if
on
you,
YouTube.
if it can go wrong from the first question and it just go. Poof,
yeah, it's exactly what happened with me the first time. Like it suddenly the dog ran out and then
Chloe just went. Poof.
Chloe shot
And he was like, "You
and
shot
Frank.
Pompidou! You shot my dog!"
And
And then she just goes. Poof.
And you can let it lie. You can have it be that case because then Chloe and Max are like, we need the code, and they're searching his pockets, and they're like, then we've
Oh
got
my
to get
god!
out of here.
I didn't let it go that far. I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
No.
If you want, you can play it as it lies and have Chloe kill Frank and walk away, and you've picked his pocket, and then you go up to the room to play like junior detectives.
That's awful.
Yeah, but instead you go back, and it's a weird bit where Whereby, and I think it's to accommodate the sheer number of ways in which it can go wrong. Like you can injure Frank, or you can
he
kill him
can
outright.
pull a knife on you. He can pull a gun on you.
Yeah, Chloe can get hurt as well. So when you go back to it, because there's like a whole gamut of different levels of seriousness. Max is like, I can tell you this will go wrong if we mess this up. And Chloe says, well, I knew you'd be kind and rewind. What should I do different? And it was
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And then I was able to tell her to watch her mouth, and it went a lot more smoothly.
Oh wow, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
I just chose one answer different at the very start, and I just was like, okay, I was just trying to read Frank and what he would want me to say, and I was like, okay, well, he seems like receptive to just good manners.
Yes,
so.
yeah. Well, I think probably because I let it play out for longer. Max warns Chloe a bit more, but that scene was heavy, and it was one of those points where I kind of realised there is a lot of like artifice to this game, and like I like the way all the threads are kind of coming together now.
There's
your heart out, Telltale, because it just
there's a really detailed flowchart that Don't Know How to Publish, which we should probably link to from the blog post if you're listening to this on Eurogamer, and it details how all of the conversation options feed back into one another, and how if you rewind it's slightly different, and you can leave Frank alive, dead, alive but injured, so pissed off with you, and all of that presumably will play into whether he can help you in episode 5.
Yeah.
The really great thing about all of that, though, is that every outcome is still true to Frank's character.
But is it true to Chloe's that she shoots him?
She panics.
Yeah, I think she does panic, because the dog's running at her, and then he runs at her. I'd probably do the same thing. Like,
is it true to Chloe that she shoots Pompadour?
Well, the dog was like literally burst out of the trailer.
Oh, okay. Again,
I mean, she's an amazing shot. It's like some proper Tom Clancy shit where you just like pop pop,
shooting all those bottles. You know,
yeah.
Good practice.
I was eating those beans.
Oh god, yeah.
I'm glad I resolved it though, because like he's actually he sends you a nice text and everything afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's really cool. Like whenever you do from the previous episode, when you explore all the options to try and get his keys, like you find out he rescued all those dogs, and like
I didn't find that out. I only found out about that later.
It's one of the things you can use to really calm him down. Actually, Max is like, "You're lovely. You rescued those dogs," and he goes, "So I got Pompadour," and then suddenly he's friends.
And then
with you.
because then he says like, "Oh, I just did whatever anyone decent would do," and he is a decent person. You get the sense that he just like was in a shitty situation.
Yeah. I thought that scene was really good. I thought the one with Victoria was less good, where you're trying to talk her around. She was too interchangeable based on like whether you said the right or the wrong thing, and it was that was veering a little bit close to kind of Telltale.
You can see the mechanics underneath the dialogue being like, "Oh, you've chosen the good option. Hooray! Victoria's now on your side."
Yeah.
Like this might be a bit too early to go into theories for episode 5, but I have a theory about how the sort of final outcome of the series is going to be based upon how many people are now on your team. Like,
really?
So Max mentions a few times throughout the episode, "Oh, right, they're on my team now. Great, they've joined Team Max."
Yeah.
So I think the number of people that you can rely on will help you get more proof, maybe, or
that's true. A couple of people did say
evidence
the same line, like text me if you need anything.
Yeah, so potentially you could now have Frank and Victoria as your friends, and then if you've saved Kate. By the way, I love the Kate scene.
Yeah, that
was
really
so rewarding.
Sweet.
Like,
it was like in an episode of dark moments. It was like really nice.
And I just didn't think that we'd see her again because the very nature of this is something that half the audience won't see. They're not going to bother putting the time into producing it.
Yeah, we explicitly said that in the last episode. The stat is, I believe, 40% of people she's dead. So that's a long way to go to write her in.
Yeah.
So you've got Frank, Victoria, Kate, Chloe. Obviously, I think if you sided with David, then maybe he could be on your team. But
I imagine so, because he was so absent in. Well, I mean, he was so absent in my episode.
I reckon David will come back regardless.
I don't know what happens if you didn't. So he could.
I blamed him.
And he got kicked out of the house by Joyce.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happens if he's still present.
Because it feels like, because a lot of people on the Reddit, again, have pointed out that they left this big fuck off board from the investigation, and like they left the map open of where they were going on the computer. So if David theoretically was still in the house and they went missing, he would, he'd know how to follow them to the bunker,
Yeah.
But I mean, that's all speculation again. The investigation was really cool, by the way.
Yeah.
I normally scenes like that, they can feel very contrived and feel like there's only really one outcome, but I felt like it was very organic and that you genuinely felt you were working things out.
Yeah, and for the complexity and how late into the game series they introduced that, I was really impressed with how well it came off. Also, there were just some really interesting little details in there, like the fact that Nathan's license plate says sex offender.
I just can't believe that's what it was. Like, all the other license plates are like Twin Peaks or Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
They're all TV shows. What?
Sex offender!
That can't be. I swear to God, that's gotta be.
It was all like that. You were saying earlier, this whole episode marks Nathan up as the bad guy.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is...
That's like... I mean, that's not so much like, tongue-in-cheek. That's just
he is a bad guy. I mean, like, you just have to look at his college dorm room, right? But the big twist at the end is that it's not him.
Yeah. I don't know. See, like, I'm just...
Or is he in cahoots with...
I'm trying so hard to work out that relationship. So obviously, okay, so this was the big twist at the end of the episode, is that Jefferson is the one, presumably, drugging the girls.
Yep.
Or the killed.
What a massive douche.
Yeah. Oh, God. He's so creepy.
So there's a text on Nathan's phone which you can read, and at the time that I read it, it was to me like, oh, this is from his father, because it talks about, don't screw this up, I've set up all these things, everything's in motion just for you to act like an asshole and mess up all my plans or whatever. And there's no like details who it's from, but people have said if you look at it now after the episode, it could just as easily be from Jefferson.
Yeah.
And they are obviously working together because the dark room, whatever that is... Yeah,
there's a note to Nathan in there, but also Jefferson has been in there.
Well, so I was trying to think,
Nathan provides the drugs.
Because, I mean, his jacket was there when you walk in. And,
for sure.
And, like, there's notes from... So, obviously, the building permit for the storm bunker, which is also another interesting thing, that they built a storm bunker when there's a tornado coming.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, do they know? Has someone there got these... But anyway, so, like, there's so much evidence there planted to make you think this is being built by the Prescott family.
Yeah.
Which has led a lot of people to think that, and a note that's on the computer that says, don't shout my name in public again.
Yeah.
Which is from his father, and you're like, but why wouldn't his father want to shout his name in public?
Yeah, there are some people who believe that,
that Jefferson is his father.
Yeah. And I find that... Yeah.
I don't buy that, because it just it's a bit clunky.
Yeah, exactly. When people talk about like Nathan's father and is it Sean Prescott?
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't go into hiding, but also have an established photographic career. Yeah. That seems really hard.
And why would you have an alter ego when you're a rich, businessman? Why would you have a famous photographer alter ego? It just doesn't work.
There are also questions about the Prescotts actually being related to Chloe's family, because Chloe's... so William's brother, I think, was Aaron, and then there's Sean Aaron Prescott.
Yes,
everyone's like,
but that's
are they the same? Yeah, it's tenuous, and why would Chloe not know?
I feel like there's been so many mentions of Nathan's family that they have to be connected somehow. Maybe Jefferson isn't his father. Maybe he's like a disowned brother or something. I don't know, but or then maybe that's I don't like that as a theory, because. I prefer it to be something different.
Sure. Well, my favourite one at the minute is the theory that Jefferson is, like Kate, a skin changer, and that he is the owl in the barn that you can take a picture of. Because then, when you go to the junkyard...
What do you mean, like Kate, a skin changer?
Oh, loads of people think that Kate's like a skin changer, like she's like a wag or something. Like,
what?
I'm not joking. Because in like a bunch of pictures and a bunch of appearances, like her jewelry's changed and her eyes and the bridge of her nose seem different and all this kind of stuff. But people, because you have that owl in the barn looking over the storm thing and watching, and you can take a picture, then when you go to the junkyard later to make sure that Rachel's body is still there, an owl flies past.
Oh.
I did at the time notice it and go, it's an owl. But
I didn't see an owl.
Oh, unless Jefferson, either can change into an owl or stuffed it under his arm when he came over. I don't think it's quite on the money.
That's quite crazy. I do like the whole spirit animal theme that's like
Yeah.
like an undercurrent to the
Yeah,
whole series,
so-
but I don't think that it's like explicitly.
When
that.
you find Rachel Amber's body, the doe spirit disappears.
Yeah.
Because you've discovered her final resting place.
That's so
right?
awful.
So-
Like the
Yeah.
fact that she's been there that entire time.
Oh,
And, like,
really undermines that scene, doesn't
That
it?
scene in episode 2 where they're like, we're in Chloe's happy place, and like where you see that doe spirit in episode 2, it's standing right on her grave,
Mm-hmm.
and then you find like a scrap of a punk t-shirt like right on her grave. It's so it's horrible. But
I
that's
think you
well,
show me the screenshot of like the hypodermics there as well, which obviously
Yes.
the drugs used by Nathan on.
Oh god,
If
yeah.
you remember that,
Yeah.
when she's like, "Ew, it's so gross seeing like needles," and you're like, drugs." Well, of a kind.
Yeah. Oh.
When you go back there at the end of the episode, if you look at the graffiti in the little hideout place, which says
Max was here.
Max was here, Rachel was here, Chloe was here, like, or was here.
Yeah.
And they've changed it. Someone has changed it to Rachel is here,
Yeah.
and the other two, like, you were gonna die. or
You're all
something.
gonna die. Yeah.
So at the end of the episode, Chloe gets shot. Now I had like, as soon as this happened, I just did a big eye roll because I knew it was one of these things that I think is just going to be rewound. It was
Yeah.
like this has been done as a cliffhanger.
Well, yes. I mean, so this comes back to what we were saying about the photographs. So I think the most popular theory at the minute is that there's a moment before the party that everyone you can't skip. It has to happen where Warren
It's
takes
so
a
obvious.
selfie. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty. Quick.
Especially since he's been drugged, because he's like,
Yeah.
You see that interesting theory. So everyone thinks like Stella's involved.
Yeah.
Because number one, Stella was hired by Jefferson to work at the party, so she could have drugged him. You have to talk to her even if you try and walk past her.
Yeah.
And then if you remember, she was the one that said to Max that Rachel definitely slept with Mr. Jefferson, and she heard it from a reliable source. And then less tenuously, her room was 213. It was the red room at the very
Yeah.
first episode.
Yeah.
So people think that she's working with him.
Ooh.
I think that yes, we will revisit the party, and there are two reasons why. Number one, the mystery bathroom stall, which is
I didn't
filled
even
by
think
someone.
of that before you said that. He thinks like what, Nathan or someone's in the bathroom stall?
Either that, or I think it's where the time traveling Max hides from her other self, so she can sort of get around the party and not meet her.
But I thought Max becomes her.
Yeah,
in the
Oh, that's
Max
true.
doesn't stay in the same place.
Maybe Nathan is in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
If
know.
that was the case though, like.
The other thing is like the point where Jefferson is on stage talking to the entire crowd.
That
is
would be the time to unmask him, as
Exactly.
it were. Yeah.
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 But how would she do that without any
Not without
evidence?
20 minutes of backstory as well to everyone. Be like, for those of you not in the know.
But it was weird, like going through that party because it felt like she was saying goodbye to all
Yeah.
the secondary characters.
Yeah, you
know,
had that
like-
moment with Alyssa where she's like, "Thank you for helping me throughout these 4 episodes." Basically.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like Stella and Brooke and Daniel and everyone else.
Which I found hard to care about, partly because the music was really
So loud.
in that episode and bad. So with all apologies to Audio Network. But like, having just found Rachel's corpse and it being such like an insane moment where Chloe just breaks down, it then threw you right in there so hard. And it was just like, I mean, in some ways it was great because it was very true to life of going around a party when you're actually really upset about something.
And Chloe was pissed.
Yeah.
She was on a rampage.
But yeah, I found that whole thing difficult. Maybe it's also because it took me 20 minutes to get into the VIP room.
Yeah, I got stuck on that, and I was really annoyed by the looping music
Yeah.
for ages and ages.
So what do you think? What are your theories going into episode 5?
I was going to say, I do think we're going to be building a team, and you're all going to be. Max is going to have to rely on the knowledge from other people to take down Jefferson, and I think we're going to go to Nathan's family home, and whether he can be redeemed a little bit or convinced to help or even lives or dies because maybe Jefferson wants to tie up loose ends will be based upon your choice.
Maybe he's already dead.
Maybe
How
he's
do you
already dead.
think she's going to get out of the dark room though? She's got to do that first.
Yeah, there are some people saying that like
maybe she's going to appeal to Nathan, like if Nathan comes in there.
I don't buy that. I hope they don't do
Yeah.
that because he's
Yeah.
been drugging these girls. He knows what he's done. He may
Yeah.
not have wanted it to go as far as killing, because obviously I think Rachel was killed by accident.
Yeah.
Because they didn't drug any of the other girls. She was the only one who was lucid, from what we can see from those photos, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, they
Yeah,
were
They were horrible.
awful. Like,
Disturbing. So who has the photo that Warren took?
well, it's
Warren
on
would have
Warren's
it.
phone, but so. Oh God! What if Warren's involved?
No.
No,
How would
no.
she? How
But
would she
well,
feasibly get out of there?
Unless, so Warren sends her the photo saying, "Great party last night, great to see you," whatever, and she like comes into consciousness and is like, "I just have to focus on this photo and then I can get out."
Yeah, maybe that's.
Someone's gonna have to help her.
Well,
He's gonna take her phone off
if
her.
Nathan has been drugged, then it's feasible that his phone has been taken, and somebody could just be like, "Look at this photograph. You'll never see this guy again." Blah blah blah. That kind of stuff. I do assume that someone's going to come in to the rescue.
Maybe it is going to be David then.
I think it might
if
be
you
David.
Yeah.
If the map is
was
there
on the
for him to
computer
see.
screen.
As much as I absolutely love the relationship dynamic between Chloe and Max, with the way they've set things up now, I kind of hope they don't cheapen the thing. You know, the fact that she is dead and everything has gone on by bringing her back to life. Like, I actually can't. Part of me hopes that it's permanent, and I don't know if that's awful or not.
I feel like Chloe has been marked for death from the first episode. I feel like this series has to end and she has to be gone. But I don't think they're going to. Although I don't know, they've proven they can go dark now. But I feel
Yeah.
like it wouldn't be. It just doesn't feel like they're gonna leave it. Like the look on her face when she was shot, the look on Max's face, like that being her final end after escaping death so many times just seems so harsh.
True.
Yeah.
Like she was lying in a shallow grave with the decomposed corpse of like her best friend. Like she was shot. Like it was just awful. Like, and unless they bring her back so that she can say a final goodbye, but then that cheapens the goodbye earlier in that episode. I don't know. It's just like it's. Pretty...
Maybe we will get to choose, and it will be a choice between Chloe and something else. And I don't know how the end of the world is going to play into it. People have said we're going to have to let Chloe die
to let the storm dissipate.
Yeah.
It's Fable all over again.
Yeah, because you upset the timeline initially by saving her in the bathroom, and maybe that was the point where
Because
it's
you remember
all gone a bit crazy since.
It was when they left the party that those two moons in the sky, one of them disappeared.
Faded out because
so
yeah.
I feel like there's two. Those are two timelines, and them leaving, they chose one.
I think big time. I think the idea that Chloe has to be sacrificed to prevent the tornado, that makes sense to me, to be honest. I'm not sure how satisfying I find that as a prospect, but
No.
I feel like the game has written itself into a pretty tight spot, and it's going to be hard to maneuver things in such a way that it is satisfying. But
Did you enjoy it?
yeah, I mean, it was heavy. Like, I was sad when I went to bed. But all in all, I'm impressed with the range of material they've covered, the sensitivity with which they've done it, and just how deep this game has gone. Like, a game that I thought was just like...
Teen.
Yeah, a bit teeny-boppy with
it was
some,
Dawson's
some
Creek
adult
in the
themes.
first episode, and it's now...
No, it's like Buffy the Vampire
Yeah.
Slayer.
Yeah, well, darker than Buffy,
Yeah.
certainly.
Yeah, I'm amazed by that. It's definitely in my top 3 games of the year so far.
I really love that, yeah.
It might be my game of the year. I don't know.
I think it is for me at the moment.
It's just really interesting, and like, yeah, I'm just like, I've never devoured like all the because I was the first of us to play it. I was like, yeah, finish it quickly because I need to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I finished it about midnight, and I was like, I shouldn't really be texting a colleague outside office hours when it's midnight, but I just sent fuck. It's heavy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that's I think that it's gonna be hard for them to wrap it up in a satisfying way, or a way that satisfies everyone. But
yep.
I kind of hope that it sort of sticks to I don't want to say realistic because obviously it's not, but I want them to keep the supernatural timey-wimey stuff to a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And I want the relationship between Jefferson and Nathan to be some, because I feel like playing through that episode, it was almost like a horror game for women. And I'm not saying that, like, obviously, you know, anyone else can sort of relate to it, but I just feel like the dark room and the photographs and the just everything was just like, this is what you're, you know, this is like the things that you're most afraid of happening when you go out at night alone. Like, do you know what I mean? And like that stuff, that's what makes the game so powerful. And I don't want them to be like the supervillains, like some mustache twiddling, you know, time lord or something. Like I want it to be like this.
What are you saying about Doctor Who?
Well, you never know what he does in the TARDIS alone. But
very true. But no, you're right. I think the teaser for episode 5 showed that it is going to go down that route, like where he's preparing the syringe and Max is just softly pleading with him.
It's awful.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Maybe Victoria will be in there with her. Because we warned her about the wrong person. And he's got these binders full of women, and like we didn't see Max's one. But
and Victoria's going on a trip with him.
Yeah.
So why did he?
They're never going to go on that.
Why did he shoot Chloe but keep Max alive?
Because I think he might know that Max has powers. Because he took out the one who'd be the biggest threat to him first, Max.
Maybe.
I think he might know something of because I mean, whenever he said like, have you gone back to the first episode, knowing in context what happens?
I've watched the first scene, and he's like, I could put any of you in a dark corner.
Yeah, he talks about like finding beauty in innocence and that moment of despair, which is a pretty dark thing to say at the time.
It's horrible.
But like, but then he says, and Max has a gift, you know, and like all that. I just feel like because he was really adamant about her submitting a photo as well. Like,
so the photo that she's going to submit is going to be some incriminating evidence, and she's going to be like,
oh,
boom,
she's going to be like, I have a last minute. But then but that won't stand as evidence because he hasn't bloody done it yet. You know.
But he has helped kill Rachel Amber.
Yeah, but she needs evidence. She doesn't have any yet.
Well, maybe she can find some, and there's some photos of. I mean, she just needs to show the photos of Rachel Amber that are in the darkroom. So they exist.
I'm calling it now. He's just going to turn into an owl and get away with it. That's it for me.
All right. Well.
Doctor Who.
Oh God.
That's awful.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, if you're listening, let us know your theories because we really want to hear more because it's going to be a long wait for episode 5.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have Don them back for the next episode. We're going to do one after episode 5 and then I think one more as just a general thing.
Oh, cool.
With possibly the speculation as to where they're going to go season 2 if they get to make it, which I fully imagine they will.
1 million sales, I'm pretty sure that they're planning it. So see you in October.
Yeah. Arcadia Baes.
That one was worth.